Welcome back everyone, it's Charlie. This will be my new Fantastic Four Galactus video. Marvel just made a casting announcement. It seems like they will be bringing the character back for the movie. They've been trying to do Galactus in the MCU for a while now. There have been a bunch of deleted scenes, and a bunch of the writers on the upcoming Marvel movies have talked about using him in their movies heading into Marvel Phase 6 and Marvel Phase 7. So it seems like they're finally going to do a legit version of Galactus, which we've all been asking for this whole time. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There'll be more casting announcements for the new Fantastic Four movie really soon. I've already done a couple Fantastic Four videos, so I'll link those in the description below. But the first big thing, supposedly they're casting Antonio Banderas as Galactus. That's the huge surprise.
The highlights probably is not actually one movie, two movies, three movies. It's just the amount of...
One, that they're actually doing Galactus, really excited about that. Want to see comic book accurate Galactus in the MCU. But also that they go for Antonio Banderas. Now, there are probably a lot of actors that could pull off Galactus's voice, because most of it will be a voiceover role, but if you're going to do a comic book accurate Galactus, he does have a humanoid looking form, even though he's highly evolved. He just happens to be a planet-sized looking person. Like, would it be Antonio Banderas' face in Galactus's helmet with his suit?
The scale is again in balance. All is as it was.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
The other obvious reason for casting a relatively well-known, very good actor would be to show him as Galen of Ta, so you can learn some of Galactus' backstory. A lot of people think Galactus is going to be another Celestial in the MCU just because he looks so similar to the Celestials, but he's actually very, very different. He has a much different backstory. Galactus is a human from the previous version of the universe, so there's this whole cycle of big bangs in the multiverse where everything dies, contracts down, there's another big bang, in another universe, another multiverse is born. They call those the different cosmos, so we're like in the 7th or the 8th version of the universe right now in the main MCU. It's already happened many times. Galactus was named Galen of Ta, and he was one of the last survivors of the previous version of the multiverse. He witnessed its heat death. He's sort of like a He Who Remains type of character, surviving to the very end of the multiverse. And instead of being destroyed in the process of the next Big Bang like everything else, the 7th cosmos, sort of like the will, the consciousness of that entire multiverse, made a contract with him so that they could both survive into the next cosmos, into the next version of the multiverse. They entered the cosmic incubation chamber, and then after the Big Bang, the next multiverse was born. He emerged as Galactus, the World Eater. So Galactus is kind of like a person plus the essence of an entire multiverse, all combined into one. The funny thing about that, though, is that doesn't make him more powerful than the Celestials. Within the comics, at least, he's actually fairly afraid to go up against a Celestial host. They usually give each other pretty wide berth, so like he lets the Celestials do everything that they're supposed to be doing on a cosmic scale, like Arishem the Judge. And the very important cosmic purpose that Galactus serves is kind of like Thanos' plan in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. He gets rid of dead planets so that new life can grow in its place. Sort of in the way that farmers work with their gardens, like they'll burn parts of their garden to help enrich the soil so that new life can grow. So even though Galactus is portrayed as a world eater and everybody hates him, like, oh, you're going to destroy our world, actually he serves an important cosmic purpose. He debuted in the very early Fantastic Four comics in a special called The Coming of Galactus. And the reason why he came to consume planet Earth is because it was so enriched with cosmic energy. Within the MCU, early theory is that he's coming back to planet Earth to consume it because of Tiamat's body. Its celestial body is full of so much cosmic energy and resources that he wants to consume that. The funny thing about Tiamat's body is it's actually a big plot point during Captain America 4 New World Order. They're going to say that adamantium in the MCU comes from his body, so it becomes this big arms race of all these different nations, including Val and Thunderbolt Ross, who's the President of the United States, to try and seize it for themselves before other countries get it. I believe it'll also play a role in the Thunderbolts movie too, so we'll see more of what's going on with Tiamat's body by the end of Marvel Phase 5. We talk about all the crazy cameos they're supposed to have in Deadpool 3. Supposedly, because it's so tongue-in-cheek, they're supposed to have a cameo from Galactipool in that movie. Don't know how they're going to explain that.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
You have questions.
Yes. I had a lot of questions. I'm sure you had a lot of questions, but rest assured, we're going to answer them right now.
But they've been trying to get Galactus in the MCU movies for a while now. The writers of the Eternals movie were talking about doing him in Eternals 2, the sequel movie, and how he sort of figures into their cosmic MCU plans for where they're taking things during Marvel Phase 4 and Marvel Phase 5 on a larger Avengers level scale. So everybody's kind of been thinking about him in the background. But this is what the Marvel writers said. They said Galactus is an amazing character and villain. We are obviously setting the stage for intergalactic cosmic megalith confrontations, especially when you kill a space god, talking about the plot of the Eternals movie and them kind of killing Tiamat. Effectively, he's dead. They turned him to stone, so he's supposed to be dead. And then the space god comes and kidnaps you and plans to judge Earth. I think the door is very much open for world-eating villains. Technically, Galactus doesn't eat worlds, he eats the cosmic energy inside worlds, but they call him the Hunger, so it feels kind of like he's eating a planet. Then they go on to say there's definitely conversations about these post-credit sequences, about what they're introducing, where we're going. Galactus is one of those iconic figures of the Marvel Universe that we're excited to see, but sometimes I think you leave yourself open, you leave the doors open, and who knows what's happening in number 2. Maybe you're too busy saving a Celestial from Galactus that you end up incurring his wrath. Anything is possible. That should answer all your questions about why Galactus didn't show up in a post-credit scene. It sounds like they thought about it, but it was just a little too soon to actually bring him into the MCU because we haven't seen Silver Surfer yet, and they haven't done the new Fantastic Four movie yet. But clearly the Eternals writers have had a lot of conversations with Marvel behind the scenes about how they'd use Galactus in the next movie. The plot that he explains there might change a little, but he's suggesting that Galactus would actually be fighting the Celestials just because of these big megalith cosmic confrontations that they're talking about. There aren't that many characters that are physically as large as Galactus and the Celestials, but they're about the same size. Like Galactus, about the same size as Arishem the Judge. Sort of like Godzilla vs. Kong, but make it Marvel and make it outer space.
The arrogance of man is thinking nature is in our control, and not the other way around. Let them fight.
That would be a little bit different from his relationship to the Celestials in the comics. In the comics, Galactus actually views them as being the bigger fish, if you're talking about apex predators. In fact, the Eternals story that they adapted for the movie, Neil Gaiman's Eternals run with Tiamat, the dreaming Celestial, waking up and the Eternals trying to stop that from happening on Earth, Galactus was actually featured in that story and starts to get afraid when it senses that a new Celestial is being born. But based on what the Eternals writers said, it sounds like in the MCU, they're going to be using Galactus in a slightly different way, making him more powerful than the Celestials, or at least as powerful. The plot that the Eternals writers teased here, the Eternals themselves saving a Celestial from Galactus, they didn't say if it's a fully grown Celestial or if it's saving Celestial seeds and planets from Galactus. But his whole thing is consuming planets rich in cosmic energy. He doesn't actually eat the planets themselves, like I said, he just sucks the cosmic energy out of them. And planets with celestial seeds in the MCU would be super rich in that kind of energy, like a tasty Galactus snack. The other real big deleted scene with Galactus relatively recently was during Thor: Love and Thunder. And because this is a huge deal, literally and metaphorically, like you have a lot of huge monsters, Galactus literally huge. What was originally going to happen is that we were going to see Jane Foster's Mighty Thor adventures on Earth while Thor was busy with the Guardians of the Galaxy before he'd come back to Earth. So like Jane Foster's Thor versus Galactus would have happened during a completely different part of the movie, and I think it's easy to understand why they got rid of this part of the movie, because there's so many big characters that they're just burning through super quickly as a sort of jokey kind of way. And since the Eternals movie just sets up so much cosmic history of the MCU, it makes sense that they'd also use Galactus in some way or incorporate him into the Celestials' overarching story going forward. And bringing this back around to the new Fantastic Four movies that Marvel is setting up right now, Galactus sort of goes hand in hand with the Silver Surfer character. Usually you see him first, and he is the Herald of Galactus, so then you know that Galactus is coming when he shows up. I haven't heard any casting announcements about Silver Surfer yet. I've only heard talk about Galactus being in the movie, so let me know who you want to play Silver Surfer. Also, because of where they're taking that character in future movies, he's just a really huge deal in the MCU. You may remember Lawrence Fishburne's performance as Silver Surfer in the original Fantastic Four movies. He was just the voice of the character. Doug Jones did the physical camera performance.
It is known by many names. My people called it Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds.
My early theory right now for the first time we actually see Galactus for real in the MCU, or the first time they actually tease him, would be one of the new Fantastic Four movies post-credit scenes. Like the new Fantastic Four movie introduces the new team, what their big mission's going to be. They use one of the post-credit scenes as a sort of Avengers 5, Avengers 6 lead-in for larger cosmic Avengers-level threats like Galactus. But everyone let me know in the comments, if the Eternals writers are talking about using Galactus in the sequel movies, what do you actually want them to do with the character? We'll get more casting announcements really soon, but Marvel's next big series is the Secret Invasion episodes. I will do episode videos for that like all the other Marvel series, and we do have a new Loki Season 2 trailer coming pretty soon too. I just did a big video for the last Loki Season 2 trailer. You can click here to watch that, and click here for that brand new Adam Driver Fantastic Four announcement. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.